Hey, hi. I'm going to show you all a quick demo of creating a video summary for a meeting, webinar, or podcast recording using Symbl.ai APIs. For first steps, we should be able to get our API access from Symbl.ai website where we can go sign in or sign up. And yeah, then we'll be able to copy our app ID and app secret. Because I've already signed up, I'm going to just sign in and pick up my app ID and app secret from there. Yeah, these are the API credentials that we're gonna need. And for next steps, we can refer our API docs as to how to work with the app ID and token, and generate a summary for a recorded conversation like a video or a podcast or something. We're going to be using Symbol's async video API, and we're going to use video URLs for this. So post video URL API. And yeah, this is going to be the format of request. Um, for this example, we're going to use our Postman collection, which is also available on the documentation here. So if you go into developer tools, you have Postman here using Postman, and you have run in Postman collection. Again, I've already added this to my Postman collection here on my local Postman app. So I'm going to just pick it up from here, and we're going to process this video. It's a latest video of Sundar Pichai and MKBHD talking about technology and AI. So we can process this video and get insights from here. All right, so we have the video URL, we have app ID and secret, and one of the first things we might want to do is to get our app token, for which is required for the API request. So we can generate that from Symbol API's authentication and generate token. And under body, we need to replace app ID and app secret from what we get here from the platform. I've already done that for my account. It's the same one. So when we hit send, we get an API key access token, which is stored globally within the workspace right now within the Postman collection. And yeah, so we can directly move into the next request, which is our video URL API, basically where we sort of submit the video file, submit new conversation. We would want to enable, okay, we'll go to that later. But first, under body, we need to replace the URL. This is the URL we replace. Okay. Confidence threshold is for all the insights, like it can be a score between 0 to 1, and you can filter those based on this. Let's have a higher confidence threshold of zero point 0.7. And under parameters, you can choose to enable some of these things. Language by default is English US, which works for that conversation. We can enable speaker diarization, which is identifying specific speakers and what they said. There are two speakers in the conversation. Custom vocabulary could be Sundar. Else AI, that should work. Custom vocabulary is basically custom words that we would want to uh, transcribe accurately. So this should work. Our API key is given in the headers. API token, which we just generated, is here stored globally. So when you hit send, you should get a conversation ID and a connection ID, and yeah, and a job ID, which should help you understand what is the time that's going to take to process. So you can also check the request status. Job ID is stored globally here again. So this will help us understand that our conversation is still being processed. So here's how we're going to generate this. We're going to need the conversation ID, of course the autocon conversation ID, and the URL for the video, and a logo that we want to add here. So this is all we need. Okay, looks like the job ID is complete. The processing is complete right now. So we can move forward to processing the experience, uh, basically generating the pre-built UI. So we use the post experience method, and over here in body we have already updated video summary. We need to replace the video URL with the same URL that we used for processing, which is this one. So ideally this URL should be in a public cloud and should be a file URL. So it's better to add it on S3 bucket or Google Cloud or something of that sort. And we can use a logo that could be one symbol logo, easier that way. Copy image address and we replace it here. So we're good. Again, we use the same API token, everything. And now we get in response a URL which we can use to access the summary of this conversation. Yep. So over here you see topics of discussion, which are basically these ones, and you have also markers for action items, follow-ups, ideas, and questions. Questions could be very useful here. Well, now we can navigate through the conversation using these questions and topics. For example, what are the benign examples they spoke about? So we can just jump into that part. That's the summary UI, guys. Congratulations.